Yeah, so red is hot. Red's live.
Should I be red?
It's up to you. Just whenever you talk, it's got to be. Hey, Anna. How are you?
Anna's here for me also. I said Anna's here for me also.
Girl power. You can see how deep my support network is. Hargith, will you want in? Well, I got an opening. All right.
Yes.
Oh, here we go.
I can't touch the floor, but that's okay.
Hello and welcome to the Mayor's Press Conference in August. This one's a little earlier than normal. Usually we do it at the end of the month, but this one has a specific purpose. Joining me today is our Human Resource Director, Jessica Wright. Jessica's been on staff for how long now, Jessica?
Since April.
Since April. So if you followed the journey of the city, it was about a 1.5 to 2-year process to have a Human Resource Director on board. Jessica is on board, and when the position of City Manager became open, we took some bids from consultants. They came in $20,000 to $25,000 to do the search. Historically, we've used a consultant to do the search. We felt as a council that not only due to monetary savings, which I can touch on a little bit, we estimate in total at the end of the process we'll expend approximately $5,000 in the search process. So we've saved about $20,000. And also Jessica's daily interactions with staff, as well as her knowledge of the daily operations, we thought would be a really good resource to vet the candidates and select the final candidates for us to choose to be city manager that would make a good connection not only with the staff but the community, as Jessica has experience for the last, how long have you lived here, Jessica? 6, 7 years?
Since 2015, 6 years.
6 years. And coming from California, so we also valued Jessica's perception of the community and how she could apply her skill set in the search process. So with that, now is the time to tell you that we have 3 final candidates. A little bit of housekeeping before I read the names. Recently found out not too long ago, in fact this afternoon, that one of our 3 candidates is currently in negotiations with another community outside the state of Iowa, and due to respect out of the confidentiality of that process, I'm not going to read their name or get into their materials until we confirm with them if they've accepted or couldn't come to terms with the offer that they currently have on the table. With that being said, we will proceed with the next 2 candidates in no particular order. Coming to Spencer to interview will be Kay Schmelik. A little bit about Kay. I'll read you some of her history that was presented in her resume and cover letter, and then Jessica can fill in any gaps when I toss the mic over to her. But she is currently the city clerk in Des Moines, Iowa, and has been there for the past 2 years. She's originally from Hartley, Iowa, just down the road from Spencer, and has business connections to the Spencer area. Previously, in her career, she has been the city clerk and finance director for 13 years for the city of Grinnell, Iowa, which has a population of just over $9,000, which she prepared and administered a budget of $28 million for all the departments and the utilities who work directly with the city manager. She has extensive experience in economic development projects. She's worked on development agreements, including TIF agreements and negotiations. She's handled human resource functions for the city and has served as the interim city manager for approximately 1 year while there. Prior to that, she was the city clerk in Hartley for 14 years. She has worked on capital improvement projects, numerous grants. She has demonstrated leadership and compassion in her work and her background in education. She's a graduate of Upper Iowa University, magna cum laude, with a bachelor's in public administration, and earned diplomas from the American Institute of Business in Des Moines, and she is a certified public manager. From the council's perspective, what we set out to find in candidates was someone who had long tenure in positions. They weren't at short stops at frequent intervals, and we felt that Kay came highly recommended within the state of Iowa, and her background and experience would be beneficial for us to review as a final candidate. The next candidate is Al Roeder. Al is the current city manager in Independence, Iowa, and has been for the last 7 years, since 2014. Independence is a city of just over 6,000 people and has a budget of $20.8 million. Al's previous positions consist of city and county administration experience from populations ranging from 6,000 to 34,000 people, and general fund budgets in the range of $3.5 million to $59 million in locations such as Harper County, Kansas, Norfolk, Nebraska, Northfield, Minnesota, Denison, Iowa, and Becker County, Minnesota. Prior to that, Al was an economic development director for Grafton, North Dakota for several years. Al manages with a servant leadership mindset and believes that the city manager needs to be out in the community to understand the pulse of what the citizens and business owners need. His emphasis is on relationship building at all levels. He has extensive experience in budgeting, collective bargaining, project management, staff development, and strategic planning in the public sector, working on successful projects to establish capital improvement plans, as well as providing organizational leadership. Some of Al's educational background includes a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration from Morehead State University, Minnesota, and a Master of Public Administration from the University of Nebraska, Omaha. Again, Al fit our criteria as someone who is a long-serving city manager in his current position. He has a varied background of budgets and economic development projects and community relationships. And we look forward to a very tough decision, I think, between our final three candidates. And again, our third candidate, I will say, is currently serving in Northwest Iowa. But again, at this time, I'm not going to read their name out of respect for the process that they are currently in their career negotiating with a new city. The budget I talked a little bit about. That was one of our goals, was to save you all some money. And we think we have accomplished that, but not at the sacrifice of the quality of candidates. And so we think that the final candidates we have selected will be excellent for the community. We don't feel that there's a bad choice. It's going to be a difficult process. We're going to conduct interviews August 20th and 21st. Jessica will talk a little bit more about that. But as we move forward in the process, I want you all to know that our goal is to be as transparent as possible. We want to include people. If you have specific questions or topics or things that you would like to address the candidates in, feel free to reach out to any of us at City Hall or the elected officials. There will be a community meet and greet portion of the interviews as well. And with that, I'll kick it over to Jessica. She's going to talk a little bit about how we got to this point in the process, the common themes that she heard from the applicants. We had several states, I believe 48 or so, 47 candidate applications. I'll let her talk a little bit more about that, but it speaks to the testament, I think, of the fact that we are a desired city, and this is a great place to live and work and raise a family and retire in, and it's a very sought after position. My personal comments would be that when you have, you meaning any particular city government, when the city government style is a strong city manager style, meaning full-time city manager with part-time counsel, this position is so incredibly important and meaningful, not only directing city staff, but also in the community. And the decisions and the workflow and the information that comes across the desk of the city manager is incredibly important, not only to the present condition of a city, but the future of a city as well. And so that is the criteria and the looking glass that we're using as we make our final decision, which will be on the 21st. We anticipate after those 2 days of interviews, we will make an offer and then hopefully an announcement if we can come to terms with the candidates. And so with that, I will kick it off for her very first live press conference. No pressure.
No pressure.
Jessica Wright, our Human Resource Director.
I thought you were going to do this Price is Right style.
Well, we might have time at the end.
Looking for the wheel. So yeah, I would just echo everything that you said. Having worked here now since April of this year, I've had a chance to work with department heads on a daily basis, which is what the city manager spends time working through projects, economic development projects, as well as staff projects, and on matters that the employees handle directly with the city manager and their department heads. And I took time to speak to each of the council members individually, met with them to go over their point of view, what they're looking for in a candidate, and maybe what we could do better, what worked in the past, what maybe we could see as a shortcoming that we could overcome in the next candidate. in the way that we did the search was very personal for everybody. I hope that I did a good job involving everyone. I've bugged the mayor incessantly. He was my network resource, so I appreciate that. So I first developed the city prospectus in collaboration with the department heads. That was a 3-page brochure lining out the details of the position. We rewrote the job description based on the daily duties, not just figuratively, but in reality, what does the city manager need to do, and have they done on the day-to-day runnings of the city. So talked with the council members, talked with the department heads, supervisors called me when they found out that we're keeping the search in-house to tell me that they appreciate that point of view, and having human resources take that on was something that was well received, so I appreciate that from everybody. Talked to Sharifa at the Chamber of Commerce and Nancy at Main Street. It's been a community effort for sure. The corridor has also been a great resource for candidates to find out in the area what would be the draw for them for Spencer. So I took some time to compile all of that research and then put it all together, sent it out. I blanketed the Midwest, I hope, with the prospectus, sent it out via LinkedIn and all of my other online resources that as a human resource manager and recruiter you typically would use, and then met with the city clerk, Teresa here, and Brian, our interim city manager and finance director, and tapped them as resources for their associations so that we were reaching a broad spectrum of candidates. So with that, we did come in with 47 resumes from 20 states, 17 of which were from Iowa, and 18 had prior city administrative experience. So we had other businessmen and women apply that were leaders in their own right, and we definitely considered that. We wanted to think outside of the box, not only just for the city and on their behalf, but to make sure that we get the right fit for everyone involved, not just a small niche. So I appreciate that community effort, and I think we have some really strong candidates. The plan going forward after the council has now announced their final candidates, we will bring them in-house, as the mayor said, on Friday, the 20th of August, and we'll have a lunch reception for the candidates and their spouses, give them a tour of City Hall given by staff, and then we'll do a city tour. Nancy Nave from Main Street is kind enough to host that for us, so she's going to do that with the use of the Wright's charter bus. So a big thank you to them for letting us use their bus. The council and department heads will then meet with the candidates for informal discussions, and this is something that we added this round because it gives the department heads a more informal conversation. Who is this candidate as a person? How are they going to interact with me on a day-to-day basis? How will they manage their workflow? How will we collaborate? How will they communicate? So I think that's very important. And just feedback from council that they want the department heads to be more involved, and the department heads are involved on behalf of the staff. Then we would like to, as the mayor said, invite the public to a community meet and greet Friday evening from 6 o'clock to 7 o'clock, and I'll put this on Facebook as well. It will be hosted at the Clay County Heritage Center, so thank you for that. They were really happy to accommodate, and that's going to be a great space to have the meet and greet in. So if you haven't been there before, please come by and meet the candidates and take a look at the Heritage Center. And then on Saturday, the 21st, will be the formal interviews. The candidates will meet with the council members as well as the department heads and the community panel, and those will go through 12:30. And on the community panel, I'd like to thank Bill Bumgarner from Spencer Hospital, Shannon Landauer from the Corridor, Steve Pick from SMU, Nancy Nave, again from Main Street, and Sharifa Jones from the Spencer Chamber of Commerce. We also invited Phil Christie from SEDC and Terry Heeman for the Spencer Community Schools, but they were unable to attend. It's a very busy time for schools, so we certainly understand that. At the conclusion of the formal interviews, we will deliberate with council and meet to discuss the compensation package, and then the offer will go out within a couple of business days, and we hope to announce the next city manager early that following week.
All right, thank you, Jessica.
You're welcome.
Normally we take some questions on Facebook Live. My Facebook account got hacked early this morning, and I've been unable to recover that. I don't know, is anybody following the feed in the room here at all?
I did, and there wasn't anything.
No questions. Okay, if there are questions, go ahead and put them in the feed. We'll be happy to answer them, or like I said, reach out, and we will get that answered. So just in conclusion, the outset of when we had an opening, when Amanda resigned, the key directive to the staff was we really wanted to look at the relational matrix of what a city manager does in the community and who they interact with, and placed emphasis, as Jessica talked about, on matchmaking those skills and criteria, which we believe is far more important and relevant than bullet points and letters behind names and things of that nature. And I just say that to let the community know that we have put a lot of thoughtful time into this. It is a difficult and important decision, and I would just reach out also to the communities that our finalists serve in, and we were impressed what they have done in your community. We have found them, I think, don't want to speak for them, but I believe that they are happy, in serving in the communities that they're in. And I say that because that's the type of leader that we want here. And I'll share this final story with you. When the opening first came, a friend of mine who's a city manager I've known for quite a number of years in the state of Iowa called me, said, "Hey, I've got some names I think would be a great match." I told him to hang off on the names for a little bit, and he asked me the question very pointedly, "Well, what type of city manager are you looking for?" And my response to him was, "We're looking for a city manager who's not looking." And what I mean by that is we want a city manager who's probably serving somewhere, who's happy in their job, is a very high achiever, loves what they do, and this opening will be a difficult decision for them to transition out of where they're at into our community. But selfishly, we want the best city manager that we can find. And so I think that is the culmination of the process and where it has led us to. And I look forward to the city meeting and reaching out to our final candidates. If you happen to know them or anybody in their circle or the cities that they serve in, certainly reach out. It's a community process, and we look forward to finishing it. And so with that, as I conclude all my press conferences, stay safe and God bless.